What's up, traders? Welcome to another live session, and I'm 13 minutes ahead of this. Late for the start time. Part of the reason, actually, mainly the reason, is Windows and Firefox. So you guys could thank those two things. Windows decided to update out of nowhere right before I was ready to go live, and then Firefox did not want to open TradingView for some reason. It opened every other tab except TradingView, but we should be good to go. You guys should all get notifications that I'm going live for YouTube. So I'm going to give you guys a few moments to connect, because you guys probably logged in at 11, and then obviously I wasn't there, so you guys probably left. But I'm going to give you a couple seconds. So I'm actually going to send a message on Telegram. But today's Friday session, so we're going to do a recap of every trade we took, how it played out, the analysis behind it, and also look forward to next week's potential market setups. And so, let me send this message through. Okay, so while I go through it, I think people will start joining again. I apologize, but it was really out of my control. Anyways, so we started off the week and with this gold analysis, this gold short. Let me actually go to the 4-hour. And what had happened was pretty simple, and it's the bread and butter of our live sessions. We trade price action, and that's all we did on this trade. It was explained step by step on how to get the entry. So we'll start off with the very beginning. So we first drew this counter trend line right here, where we had our first couple wick touches. We had a couple here, and then we had our third one here. Now if we zoom in, what we had earlier in the week was a nice spike down to our key level at 1509, right at where my mouse is. And so what we did is we wanted some sort of break, retest, and rejection. So we got the break of the trend line here. We had a push down, a retest, and a rejection. And we entered right at 1501 for our shorts. And since 1501 was actually down here. So we waited for the gold actually created support on the hourly right above 1503. And what happened was we were waiting for a break on the lower time frame to short it to potentially all the way down to 1452. However, the furthest we got was right around 1484. So 150 pips were made there, and it was a pretty smooth zero drawdown trade. We took partials at 25 pips, and each 15 to 20 pips we just took more profits off the table, until we finally ended at 150, at which point price rebounded from this price area at 1490. And I believe on Wednesday's session, when we were somewhere down here, I did say that gold has a tendency to impulsively spike, especially when it has created a support on the hourly. So at a key level like 1490, we see it had a couple attempts to go lower, but it snapped back. Another attempt to go lower, it snapped back aggressively. A few more attempts, and it just created a bunch of hammers on 1490. And Wednesday, I gave you guys a word of caution to the paid users to watch out for gold to just impulsively spike. And this move happened right here without any news. These few candles, and this candle right here that wicked above was a news candle. So gold has a tendency to do that, and most pairs in general. So when you're in a short trade and the price stalls at a key level, it's telling you that buyers are entering and sellers are leaving, and you're about to get a run for your money. So it's always nice to take partials and to move stops into profit to make sure the trade is risk free. But that was gold, our 150 pips, and then we had USD Yen. So if you look at USD Yen, we had a perfect long opportunity that was discussed Monday. So if you're a new trader, one of the things you have to know is USD Yen and gold are inverses. So if USD Yen goes up, gold will go down, And if you put their charts side by side, they're pretty much a 1-to-1 inverse of each other. So on Monday we took gold shorts, and on the flip side we took USD Yen buys, and the setup was similar as to gold except the opposite. So let's look at our key level. When we look to the hourly time frame on the left, we're looking at 107.100 area. This horizontal rate where we had multiple attempts to go higher, but we had no closure above this level. And so that was our criteria. Our criteria was a close above, which we got, a retest with these red candles, and a rejection with this green candle right here. And the next bearish candle was our confirmation candle, at which point we entered right around 107.184. And we went all the way to our take profit, final take profit at 107.836. So a 70 pip move grabbed, and honestly it was a smooth trade. So this was our first take profit right here, and we did take our partials and move stops to entry. And if you look, price came pretty close to stopping us out of entry, but by the grace of God, it didn't get kicked in, and so we got the remaining 50 or so pips. So that's around 210 pips on a Monday. And then things kind of slowed down, especially because Wednesday and actually Thursday we had the ECB, and we also had actually Wednesday. Was it Wednesday? Let's see. Right, so it was Thursday. So yesterday we had the ECB, and so many pairs, and most importantly the euro, was kind of consolidating, and on top of that we had the US dollar CPI. So a lot of pairs were kind of stagnating in terms of movement. So we were just in and out of take profits. One trade being Euro USD. So Euro USD we shorted last week, and I called a sell stop last week, right around here, and we went as far as 52 pips into profit. That was until we came back to our entry, so we got stopped out of entry, and this is the news release that happened. So let me just expand out, and you can see the wicks to both directions. So we had a wick to the top, a wick down, and a reaction back up. And so this is why you don't want to trade news, especially when you're holding trades. If anything, you want to scalp news releases. And so thankfully we were already out of the trade, and so we weren't involved in this mess. But we will talk about where euro will go next. I think it's coming up for a nice trade, actually. Yes, it is. So let's go on the 4 hour. You can see on the 4 hour and the daily, actually. On the daily, we can actually see our descending channel come into play. So if you look at this arrow, last week on Wednesday, I thought Euro USD was going to go for a long to tap the top of this descending trend line, but we didn't get that until today. And if you look, we have a very nice a descending channel on the daily time frame, and the reaction we're getting right now off this trend line is a pretty nice indication for shorts. I mean, we've printed a semi shooting star, so this is a setup we could have for next week for Euro USD, and our stops will be very tight. So from the top of this trend line of the channel all the way to the bottom, a nice 3.81 risk reward ratio trade on Euro USD. And so Euro USD also brought in 50 pips, so right around 260 pips for the week. And then we had Euro NSD, which was a nice trade which got spoiled by news, but it happens. So here was our short trade that we took. Let's go back to the hourly. And all these trades are explained in our live sessions, and most of them rely on the techniques that I talk about. So we got in short right around 171,200, and we went as far as 107,866. So right around 35 pips, which is pretty good because we moved our stops to entry and took partials. But what happened was, we had the ECB come out, so it spiked all the way up here, right a bit above our stop loss, and then spiked around 60 pips to the downside. So if our stops were a bit more, I guess, lenient, we could have got this aggressive move. But then again, what could have happened is, if our stop was down here, Euro NSD could have very well spiked this way 100 pips, like it has done in the past. and we could have got, stopped out and been at risk of slippage and actually, not get stopped out until all the way here. So, you gotta play it safe with news releases. I think next week is pretty quiet as well. NFP week was last week, and usually that week is pretty slow for us, but we bagged 313 pips, so that's phenomenal. Cad Chf is a trade we're currently in, and it's playing out beautifully. I explained this on Thursday, in Thursday's session. Another nice trade off the top of this nice trend line of a bearish pennant pattern. And if we zoom in, I think we've hit TP2, and we're about 60 pips in profit. If you look at the entry, beautiful entry off the trend line touch, and very little drawdown on this trade. Let's look on the 4-hourly. Things are looking good. We're in nice stepping stone fashion. I do see 0.74166 to be reached by next Monday or Tuesday on another nice trade. And it's very simple technical. So we had a break. We had a shooting star on a daily trend line. And then we had a break of a major hourly trend line. We had a break, retest, rejection, and it doesn't get simpler than that. And also NSD USD, which hit our take profit 1 this morning. So right now, right around 28 pips in profit. Might stall around here. It is Friday, so if you guys want, you guys could just close out, and we can re-enter tomorrow when we do get a break of 0.63800. Okay, so yeah. So anyways, my coworker was showing me something. Anyways, so it is Friday, and we had a pretty decent week. So if you're still in the trade, just close out, because it is with the whole trade war fiasco. Trump loves to tweet on Fridays and cause havocs in the market. So let's be risk averse here and bag those profits. But the only loss we had, and it wasn't even really a loss, was Cad Chf. And let me go back to it. So what had happened was I did the live session, and then I called the trade, and so I explained it to my paid users yesterday, but I'll do it once more. So let me hide this one. Oops. So on the live session Thursday, I drew this setup with this trend line right here, and when we got that break, I called the setup to go long. But then the other part of my brain kicked in and was like, hey, what if there's another trend line that goes from here to here. Okay, right. So my brain was like, there's a trend line that could go from here to here, and this 4-hour candle, this bullish candle, kind of tripped me out, and I was like, oh, we have ECB coming up, and I don't want to be up in drawdown at this point, at this level. And so I caught off the short at like negative 10 pips. And then what had happened was the next 4-hour candle came and smacked down on the smaller time frame. So that's when my trading strategy, the rules came back in play, and it's like, yeah, I can enter. And since then we haven't looked back. So we keep our losses small, do a pip count again like always. Negative 10 pips was our only loss and the smallest loss of the week. So that's pretty good. And I think our biggest win was 150 pips for gold, and USD Yen paid out dividends. So another good week we've had, and we're on a roll. These last few weeks we've only had 1 or 2 losing trades max per week, and the overall risk to reward ratio on these setups is at least 1.35, usually 1.5. So you're gonna get great setups. And for those that are in the free version of the portal, who are just the free users, you're only gonna get Monday, where I come in and give a taste of what we could have in store for the week. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is when I give all the nitty-gritty details to the paid users, the entries and the trade setups. And then Friday is when we do the recaps like we did today. And so if you're looking to take benefit, to learn how to trade while making profits, when you become a trade member, you get 6 signal providers on the house. And we all average around 300 pips a week. And that's around 1,200 pips per month per provider. So There's so much value here, and it's only $97 a month. But for those that tuned in today, I'm gonna give you guys a 25% off coupon code. If you sign up today, it will be only valid from today till tomorrow morning. So the first 25 is the way to get 25% off on the trading room. So after this live session, if you're impressed, if you want to get on this, go ahead and join and use that coupon code. And I'll be looking forward to seeing you guys on Monday's session. So before I send this off, let's do a couple potential trades for next week. So we have Cad Chf, which will be running next week, NSD USD, which we're going to re-enter again. I talked about Euro USD potential short off the descending channel. I do want to talk about pound before I send this off, and we'll get back to business on Monday. So pound finally is doing what we wanted to do. Thank you. So on the daily time frame, oh my god, this is volatility. So earlier in the week on Monday, what we wanted was these arrows to play out. So if you look on the pound, since it slipped down here in July, it was capped at this level right at 123.730, and we've kept pushing it, but we never got that close. So what we wanted was to come up above this level, get a closure, and create support and resistance with these arrows. Just create a kind of a region of support and resistance or consolidation, and at that point we can trade the breakout, right? Because we do have this trend line on the daily that we have to touch, and we did get that breakout. If you look on the hourly, pound has actually swinged up quite a bit actually. So this is the level we're talking about, and this is the volatility of the pound. Obviously the no Brexit. What we wanted was consolidation to happen here. Instead, pound hasn't looked back, but that's fine because we actually might get a better entry now, because we might get a retrace back to 124.200, and then we can go long after. If you look on the daily, you can see the overall sentiment for the pound has changed. So since the start of June, we've been in a pretty aggressive sell-off on the pound, and if you look at all the bullish retraces on these trades, for example, we have a mini retrace here and a mini retrace here, but if you look at the length of the bear ones, it's way more significant than the bull retraces. That all changed when we made the historic low. So the pound USD created a historic low at 119.559. It's never been this low in its history of trading, right? So once it created this low, it snapped back right in our support region. And then if you look at this bullish run it's been on, it is longer than all these bullish runs, this one. The last time we had a bullish run that significant was probably over here back in February of 2019. So that's how the sentiment has changed, and we're en route to probably touch this trend line right here. If we pan out, we can see we have our first touch or second touch, and we're due for a third touch. So the sentiment for the pound has changed. We're just gonna have to get a better entry on Tuesday. So that's today's recap. You'll get a pip count sent in my Telegram channel, t.me/rpforex. Make sure you follow us on TradingView at Forex Lens, and use that coupon code FIRST25 to get 25% off the trading room if you use it today or by the end of tomorrow morning. So another great week. I will see you guys tomorrow. On Monday. Have a great weekend. Stay out of the markets. There's not much to trade. And peace out. I'm RP Forex, logging off.